There was something off about the new house on Elm Street. I had only moved in a week ago, but every night felt heavier, as if the house itself was pushing me down in my bed, suffocating me slowly as I slept. The air was thick with an unsettling quiet, interrupted only by the occasional creaks of old wooden floorboards. One night, I woke up to a sound, a faint tapping, rhythmic but not consistent. It seemed to be coming from the attic. At first, I thought it might be the wind blowing a tree branch, brushing against the roof, but the sound was too precise, too intentional. Tap, tap, pause. Tap, tap, pause. It was as if someone or something was counting. I stayed frozen under my blanket, straining to hear more. The tapping continued for what felt like hours before it abruptly stopped. The silence that followed was almost worse. I tried to convince myself it was just the old house settling. Houses make noises, don't they? The next day, I mentioned it to my neighbor, Mrs. Cartwright. She was an older woman who had lived on Elm Street for decades. The expression on her face darkened when I told her about the sound, and that it was coming from the attic. "You shouldn't go poking around in that attic," she said firmly. "Some doors are better left closed." That only made me more curious. That night, when the tapping returned, I decided I had to see for myself. Armed with a flashlight, I climbed the creaky stairs leading to the attic. The air grew colder the closer I got, and the tapping grew louder. When I pushed open the attic door, the smell hit me first. Something sour and old, like rotting wood. My flashlight beam swept across dusty furniture and forgotten boxes until it landed on a figure in the corner. At first I thought it was a mannequin, the way it stood so still. But then it moved, turning its head slowly towards me. Its eyes were sunken, and its skin was stretched too tightly over its face, like a mask that didn't quite fit. In its hand was a glove that had metal knives attached to each of the fingers. This is what was tapping against the wall. "What are you doing here?" I stammered, my voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. It didn't answer. It just stared at me, unblinking. Then it smiled, revealing teeth that were too sharp for a human mouth. Upon closer inspection, his face looked burned. He had a dirty brown hat and a red and green sweater. I backed away slowly, my flashlight shaking in my hand. The figure began to step forward, the tapping replaced by a screeching sound, like metal contacting metal, in a sick way. I stumbled out of the attic, slamming the door behind me. I ran out of the house, got in the car, and ran. I found a diner that was still open, and I got a seat. The green neon lights were visible from my seat, illuminating the parking lot. There were a few other tables with people eating as well. I suddenly felt a lot safer. "What'll it be, hun?" the waitress said. "I'll take a coffee, please." I still felt a sense of creepy, but everything seemed fine so far. Even though I was drinking coffee, though, I was feeling tired. I suddenly woke up in the diner, but it was abandoned. The bright green light was now dark red outside. All the lights were off in the restaurant, and it looked like it had been abandoned for years. What happened? I looked around the condemned restaurant, and I saw him. The figure I had seen in the attic was now blocking the front door, tapping his finger knives on a table. Out of nowhere, he ran full speed at me. I was scared, and I slipped. I fell backwards and hit the back of my head on the table. I woke up in my car, parked on the side of the road. I guess I had never actually been to the diner at all. It was all just a dream, I think. I was having trouble figuring out what was real and what was a dream. Did I really see someone when I went up to the attic? I didn't want to take a chance. I called the moving company and packed my things. I didn't care how much it would cost. I needed to leave. I packed everything up really quick. As I was loading the last of my boxes onto the truck, though, I glanced back at the house. The attic window was open, and the burned man stood there, watching me. He raised a glove with 4 blades attached, waving slowly, that eerie smile on his face. I didn't stay to see what he would do next. As the moving truck pulled away, I felt a heavy weight lift from my chest, but deep down, I knew I would never forget that smile, or the sound of tapping and scraping.